real life.
Dude, you don't
Are we
know
still in real
how
life?
I cannot. I'm so excited for this. I have fucking surgery today, and I'm like, there are surgeons like, come at 9. I'm like, no, I'm speaking to Cat and Nat at 11. The surgeon's like, who the fuck is that? I'm like, listen.
What do you have?
Surgery today.
I have surgery. So it's at 3:30. There was no way I was rescheduling this. Like, the surgeon's like, okay, we'll put you in at 3:30, but that also means you can't eat all day because you have to fast.
You should have rescheduled. We would have made it work, girl.
I couldn't believe it. I was watching your stories. I'm like, I don't understand. How's she going to do this? Well, she's Superwoman. She's going to figure it out. Okay, so, first of all, before we start, Sasha, we have never met Sasha in real life. We've been wanting to talk to her, meet her, and having you on our podcast was just beyond exciting. But for everyone who is living under a rock, everyone always says that.
I know.
I know. But honestly, what do you do? Like, you're talking about commercials. What do you do for a living?
Oh my God, I still haven't perfected my little elevator pitch, right? So I guess most people know me as a content creator or storyteller, motivational speaker, former elite athlete. I think I'd be remiss if I didn't say mom, because that is my favorite title and my favorite job to date. Yeah, but I'm a former corporate global marketer, former athlete turned content creator, model, and I sometimes I'm moonlighting in this very special space. I don't understand how these opportunities are happening, but it's turned into commercial work, it's turned into a bit of acting, it's turned into voiceover stuff. So yeah, it's been
I actually have a question based on that, what you just said. So number one, you were an elite athlete. Does that mean professional, or you played at a super high level? Like, I guess, what's the difference between
was it tennis?
Yes, it was. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So what does elite mean?
Yes.
Elite means that I played on the Canadian national team. I played on the international level. I went to school in the US. So I went to Indiana State on a full ride there, and then went to Howard University, which is a historically Black college university as well, for another degree, and played tennis there too.
Is that professional? That's kind of professional though, no? Like, pro in a way?
It's not on the WTA tour, but it is like pretty high level.
Wow.
So because a lot of our audience is about, we asked a lot of women kind of what their biggest struggles are, what are their challenges, or who's their biggest critic. And about 80 to 90% said it was themselves. So I know, but when you say that you don't know how you're doing what you're doing, don't you feel like your attitude based on the fact that you think you can do it gets you what you got because you believe that you can do it?
You're smart, eh? Yeah, it took a long time. I still have that inner critic and that inner voice that has some self-doubt. But as I've gotten older and more mature, I've developed more confidence. And as the new opportunities and as my job and my career has changed, I have found strength in that. But I have had self-doubt, like, for as long as I can remember, on the tennis court, in school, when I got into the corporate world. Even though I was always excelling and doing well, I was always so hard on myself. When I say I'm surprised of where I am, it's not because I'm not a hard worker. I know I deserve to be where I am. It's just, I'm shocked at some of the opportunities because my life path was supposed to be something very different.
Got it.
It was not supposed to be in this creative space. I come from immigrant parents who made a lot of sacrifices to create a future for me and allowed me the infrastructure to excel in this sport and to do postgraduate education. And I was supposed to be on a fast track in the corporate world, and that's it. So I got very
because
ill.
of you, or because of your parents, or because the expectations you thought your parents had of you?
The expectations I knew my parents had of me.
Okay. There we go. Okay.
So I got very ill. It took several years to diagnose the issue. And I feel it was 2000 when I was diagnosed with a very rare kidney disease, and then had taken a year off of school. I'd come home to Toronto, seeing the best nephrologist. The concern was because my grandfather, died of kidney disease when he was 35.
Oh,
So the rare kidney disease that I had, like, had red flags flying all over the place. I'm not even supposed to be functioning in the way I am today. Like, I am just like an anomaly. I relapsed big time in 2009. I was hospitalized for about a year and on bed rest for a really long time. I moved in with my parents. I left my job, lost assets and all of that. And it was through that time, that year and a half, where I had to really dig deep and figure out what it was that I really wanted to do with my life. At that time, I was 29.
yeah. I was gonna say, how old were you at that time?
29. And I'd spent 29 years just, kicking ass, taking names, but not really being truly happy every day or fulfilled, because I wasn't living my true authentic life. I wasn't living my true authentic self.
I have to just insert, when you say you're the anomaly, for the people who don't know you on Instagram, it's because Sasha is like super fit, does lots of like activity. You have exercises, you have partnerships with fitness brands and clothing lines.
I was gonna ask, I was like, how, when I see how well you seem to treat your body, not only with your workouts, but what you ingest in your body. Sometimes I say to myself, like, where is the drive to continue to make it happen? I know you were an athlete, but even like now, being a mom, being so busy, are you driven because you want your health because of what happened to you, or it's just in you?
That's the only way I'll survive.
Really?
I mean, as an athlete, I was generally healthy, more healthier than the average person, but I didn't take health as serious as I do now. Now, part of this health journey was learning that pharmaceutical medication wasn't for me. And I really, so there's so many layers to this of discovery, but I credit alternative medicine to me getting where I am. And my doctors thought I was crazy. My GP, my kidney specialist, I was like, this is not working. None of these drugs are working. I'm going to do my own research. I'm going to take myself off all the meds. I'm going to put together my own team, a chiropractor, a Reiki specialist. I started to take Tai Chi, saw a naturopath, nutritionist. I did everything. And it took about 2 years of what I call rehabilitation and a Control-Alt-Delete to reboot my life. And that is why I'm on this path.
Like, so you have always had self-doubt, but it sounds like you have like a major self-intuition that guides you, because I think for so many of our followers, I think that self-doubt can coexist with confidence. And I think self-doubt can coexist with, some days it's huge self-doubt, and then other days you feel really great. And I think it's a pendulum. So for people, because when you hear that story, you're like, wow, what ambition. But I think that what you're saying is, I've had all this, but I also have that. So it's like, you can live with them together and never get rid.
Also hit, I hate to use this phrase, I hit rock bottom, essentially. Like, I didn't really have anything else to lose at that time. Like, I had no independence, I had no income, I had no health. I was socially inept. I withdrew, so I had no social life. I had broken up with my fiance 2 months before the wedding. I was like, this whole life that I always get emotional when I talk about this, so I hope I don't cry. My whole life that I meticulously calculated was falling apart.
Wow.
So as for a type A person who kind of a control freak, it was very scary. But
so much has happened in a decade.
Oh
yeah. How did you pick it up? Like, for a lot of people who feel like they're hitting rock bottom and they can't see the light, how do you find it?
And rock bottom is so different for everybody, because we know a lot of people in, marriages and are stuck because of circumstances with children, or they don't know how to get out. And, sometimes it's not as simple as just changing it. But I think that there's characteristics that you can do to kind of find, if I'm right. I mean, I don't know. What did you do, like Nat said, to try to find that balance again?
What do you look for? Where's the light?
I wrote a lot during that time. I think that's actually when I started meditating. I started journaling and really getting in tune with my thoughts and really why I was in the place that I was in and what I wanted from my life. And I had to just get to a place where I was comfortable. I had to almost force myself to try something different, even if I didn't feel like I was going to be supportive. And I have one tattoo and it's on my wrist and it says perseverance. So I had it done in early 2010 to just remind myself of every time I've been knocked down or pushed back or thought that I couldn't get back up, that I was able to rise every single time. And it it only made me stronger. Sorry.
Wow.
No,
Thank you for sharing.
I think that will touch it. I think it touches a chord with so many. I know that because everyone's knocked down is different and everyone's knocked down has a different story to it. And, on Instagram, we see so much. And the reason we love podcasting is because there's such a story behind each person that you never, ever get to hear, because the Instagram and, they're so fast. The bites are so fast. And, storytelling, especially when we know a lot of our audience feels so alone, even though they have a family around them and they don't know how to move. When you hear someone share something, when they felt the same way, it gives hope and it gives light and it gives, something that it's not just the way it has to be. Because even though they might not be able to journal, it might be something like, finding a walk buddy or there's just little things you can do to. What I hear you saying is you constantly move forward, even when you felt like you couldn't.
And you know what? It's like, I think what held me together is not thinking about grandiose changes.
Okay.
For an example, because that's intimidating and daunting. And when you're at that low level and you think you cannot dig yourself out of a hole, like, to think about monumental changes just seems ridiculous. So an analogy or an example would be me learning to move my body again. So I was a high functioning athlete and I couldn't get from my bed to my ensuite bathroom. I was like, what in the actual fuck is going on? I was in that much pain, chronic pain. And I started with Tai Chi. So we know this is beautiful, slow movements. I was swimming. And then I was so embarrassed. I couldn't even go to the gym. Me.
Wow.
I was so embarrassed physically of how I looked because I was so out of shape. I was in my hometown again because I had to be back with my parents. I'm like, I didn't want anyone to see me and recognize me. So I'm like, well, what could I do that will help me move my body that I can kind of control when I do it, no one will see? And it was running. And it was the most accessible thing because I had no income. It cost nothing to run. You need running shoes. That's it. I was able to do it at 5:30 in the morning before the neighbors woke up. And I couldn't even get around our block without stopping to walk. And I was like, this is humbling.
Yeah.
This is fucking humbling. And I was like, you know what? I don't really have anything else to do. And I'm just going to promise myself I'm going to do that one lap around the block. That's it. I wasn't expecting anything else. And I would say maybe 2 weeks later, I was doing it without stopping. And I was like, I'm going to do it, another 2 rounds. And then 4 months later, I was running 10K.
Wow.
She's making me want to get off my butt right now.
But if I said to myself, my goal is to run 10K or I'm going to run a half marathon,
right,
from couch or bed to that, no way.
I feel like sometimes you just start and you're like, I could go longer, but the thought of thinking 40 or 50 minutes, like I'm not even going to start, which is such a, it's so mental, but it really is so inspiring when someone tells you, just do 5 minutes, just go for a walk and see what happens. And then go again and see what happens.
That's going from, like, a lot of people are like, okay, I want to lose weight, I want to get fit, and they go from 0 and then they join this really hardcore workout class that makes them feel like they want to die, and then they decide, I guess I can't work out, right? Because this is way too hard.
It's not sustainable.
I know, my gosh, how many times have I done that?
And in a big way, you had to recreate my husband was a professional athlete, and when he retired, it was probably the hardest 2 years of his life, because his identity was gone, and his body as he knew it was gone, and what his mission was to wake up and work out, and all the camaraderie and the conversations around that gone. And I remember him just being like kind of lost. And I think that when you have an identity, and for a lot of people, sometimes in motherhood, they lose their identity because they're just mom, and they're not like, I don't know who else I am. And sometimes it takes doing something outside of who you were to who you want to become, but you have to start with something small.
Yes.
Okay, go now.
Speaking of you, of being a mom, you mentioned that you broke up with your fiance 2 months before your wedding. Is that the father of your daughter?
No, that is not.
Okay, I was like, because that's very complicated.
You're like, something's not adding up. Yes.
You have an adorable daughter.
Yes.
She's 3?
3, yeah. 3.
She's so cute.
That's a really fun age, by the way.
It is.
I love her
fun times, man.
I love her on your Instagram.
You are really open. So again, obviously we have a huge mom audience, and we realize that we often don't talk about the motherhood side of other women doing it, because everybody does it differently. But you're open about you and your partner, your co-partner in parenting, are like, you get along, you share like big moments together.
You are no longer together.
We are no longer. We separated September 2019.
Did it take a while to get to a place where you could like transition her from crib like to big girl bed together? And like, were these?
How old was she?
Yeah, that's a question I get all the time. Is like, how did you do this? How did you get there? How long did it take to get to that point? This was not an amicable breakup.
Oh.
I was left without warning. I came home from a work trip from New York, and I brought up an issue that was bothering me, and he was gone that night.
Oh, I did not know that.
No. So yeah, that was mid-September. It was a very busy time for me. And I remember thinking, what in the actual, like, I didn't even know if I was ever going to have kids, but when we decided we were going to have Maxwell, like, that was it. Like, my desire was never to raise Maxwell alone. I did not want to be a single mom. That's a choice for everyone, but I wanted to be a family unit. So there was a lot of hurt, a lot of anger. My ego was trashed because, like, you're leaving me. What? I'm like, I feel like I'm bringing so much to the table. I'm like, how dare you? And the holidays came, and that was rough because you have to deal with the firsts, right? Like the first long weekend or the first holiday or the first birthdays apart. And then after that, I think it was like January, and things were bad, like bad. I was not around for the handoffs on his visitation days, like none of that. Okay. And then I thought to myself, I looked at Maxwell one day and I was just like, you know what? This kid is such a light. She deserves so much more than what we're giving. And if that means I have to put my ego and my feelings and my hurt on the back burner and suck it up and speak to, at that time, this asshole, then that's what I need to do. And I said, we need to get to a place where we can respect each other and find a way to co-parent. I know this probably sounds crazy, but in my dream scenario, I would love to get to a place where once a month we can get together, whether it's dinner or an outing, and the three of us, spend time together in small chunks.
How did he respond?
He was quiet. And then I'm usually the one has to push the envelope. So I was like, Maxwell's obsessed with the CN Tower at the time. And I was like, I'm going to take her. And this is a first. You should probably be there. Did you want to come?
Wow.
I can't believe how
Wow.
mature you are.
I know you can't do that by yourself.
That's a mother's love, right?
I'm having a moment because my parents divorced when I was like 18, 17. I don't remember them ever together. And, I don't remember them doing things together. And when we got to an age, like when they were together, like when they would be together because of big moments, like graduations from grades, when we got older, I felt the burden to make sure that they were both okay.
Yeah.
And that was something I still carry to this day, to making sure that those two, even though it's not my issue. So the fact that you're doing that for her now, to give her space to be, not carry your relationship, even though I didn't have to, but as a child, I felt it.
I think, I think a lot of
most kids do though.
You feel that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Where you're like, you can't even focus on what you're doing because you're so concerned about your parents, and you love them both so much, but you're like,
the few times it happened before I just had my single mom, it was so awkward. I just felt so awkward.
Like you almost don't want it to be, and then you have to choose who you want there. And sometimes I would lie and tell one and the other, because the feeling of having the two of them. Anyways, I didn't mean to hijack the story. So
no, but it's real. That's some real shit.
Yeah, I've never said that. I've never acknowledged that, even the fact that felt that way. And we've never talked about it, but what you're saying is I hope that, because I see you two now and you're at a place where you're okay. I'm thinking.
Yeah. I mean, he's come on vacations with us. He comes to he comes to the cottage, and I think that really throws my Instagram community they're just like, they're used to it now, but they're like, how is this happening? Maybe because we're not dating other people.
I was gonna
circle back with me when one of us are dating, and then I may have a different.
Okay, yeah.
But I think you're allowed to. I think you're allowed. Of course you're allowed to have feelings as you go on, because now you have to consider two people in the same, like your dating person and her dad. But oh my.
And being a single mom, you're working, you seem so busy. Like, we're just so thankful that we've got this podcast with you. When we watch you, it seems like there's so much going on. This seems like,
she makes really good content.
Content
that it's like you work, and the content's outrageous. Like what you do, it must take so much time of your day.
I like to work strategically. So that's why there's chunks of the day where I'm just not online on stories. And it bothers me because I love that. I love sharing, but I realized last year that it wasn't allowing me to work smart. I was spending too much time sharing and not enough time doing.
What of your career, your job right now takes up the most amount of time? When you have to sit and focus, what are you doing?
You guys have good questions. Well, we have a larger team than most people think. So it's a lot of we have some exciting things coming down the pipeline. I'm able to kind of speak about some of them now.
Isn't there TV?
Yes. So we signed a development deal with E1 Entertainment for a TV show and a podcast. So there's been tons of legal stuff going on. So I spend a considerable amount of boring time on Zoom calls. And I know I mentioned this on Instagram. People are like, well, how many meetings could she have? It's a lot. So it's that. And then the designing work. So working with Ella handbags, we're launching our second. This one will be more of a collection. Last year, we just launched one bag. You guys will be getting.
Yeah.
list. So that comes out in May. I just launched or announced my Tetley signature tea.
Wait, I have to. The reason I asked you that story about your confidence versus thing is because when I was like, oh my God, that's so exciting. You were like, I pitched them. They were like, yes, let's go. And I was like, so you are that is confident, like that is someone who's like, I'm gonna try.
That on Instagram, I messaged you that. Yeah. It was like I threw that at the wall. I'm like, they're never gonna say yes to that. But yeah, I don't know. I think I have like little glimmers of confidence, but it just seemed like a natural next step. But Tetley is a huge company. Like,
yes, they did
right?
like that guru. Remember they had that like yoga guy who was like Madonna. We did something with him. I remember they're so big. They brought Madonna's like guru to Canada to do like a Tetley thing. I don't even think he drank Tetley at the time.
You are a lot more relatable than him, let me tell you.
I was like,
I'm dying.
Oh my God, but we'll go with it.
So odd. It was so odd. Yes, this is going to be a better partnership for them for sure. So you by yourself reached out to the company.
Well, I've been working with them for years. So a lot of my brand partners are long-term partners, which I did amass a lot of new followers last year. So a lot of them don't know the history, but if one was to do a deep dive, I mean, Joe Fresh has been a partner since 2016. Tetley probably 2016 or 2017.
Wow.
Because you love tea.
I love tea. I used to love coffee, but I quit drinking coffee in 2019. I've always drank tea, but when I gave up coffee, I became this crazy tea lady. But yeah, all of my partnerships are super long, and they trust me. And I think my followers and my community trust me because I don't talk about things that I don't like. I don't care how much money a brand's going to pay me. If it's not a product or service that I wouldn't use my own money to buy, I'm not promoting it. So, sorry.
When you look back on like you have had so much happen. I'm so excited to hear all the stuff because I follow you on a day-to-day basis. Obviously we miss some things, but there's just so much more to you than just the stories. It's so exciting to hear your stories. When you look back at all of the years and where you are now, where do you feel like as a woman, as a businesswoman,
as a mom,
how do you feel now compared to the past? Like, is this where you feel the best and you've gained the most confidence? Was it 5 years ago? Was it when you were playing tennis? Like, where are you at now?
Deep question, Natalie. Wow.
Yes. Because it looks really good right now.
Because it's good right now. And that separation was pivotal for me. So I think a lot
with your ex-partner.
Yeah. I wasn't happy in the relationship for a long time. We both weren't, but I didn't have the guts to leave. But he did me a favor by leaving, because it showed me that I can thrive on my own. Like, I had never been more successful. That breakup, like, it gave me the confidence. I was terrified. I was like, oh my gosh, do I need to move? Do I need to move into a smaller place? Like, how much more am I going to have to work in order to earn more money? Like, all these things. And I'm like, can I do the single mom? The whole thing just seems overwhelming for me. I think I was in quicksand for 3 months. Nobody knew. I had an agent at the time and she knew. And I remember going to set and I had to shoot a couple commercials and I couldn't even remember lines. I was a mess. But I really
Did you have a newborn at this time?
Max she just turned 2. It was a month after her second birthday. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so this is kind of new. This is like fairly new still.
Yeah.
Like, I was a
year and a half.
That's new.
It's still to go through this whole journey to be in a place where we like, he comes to the cottage and all of that. Yes. Yeah. It's new.
I was a social worker and we had to do a course on grief. And I remember they said, and I might get hate for this or people might disagree, but they say sometimes that a breakup, a separation, divorce, can be harder and more painful than a death, because you can grieve and get over. There's no end, but this can go on. It's like it's so much harder to get over. And I never really realized that until, number one, children and social media are in the mix. And it's like you have constant access to someone you may still have a relationship with. And even when you think you're over or done, something comes back and you're like, oh my God, right?
Haunts you. And it still happens from time to time. It's still
about how much I've perved my exes, and I've been married for 15 years and I still perv them. If I had one, like still, and I had that kind of, wow. Oh my gosh, have to ask about dating as a single mom.
Do we wait, Sasha, do we like the term single mom? Do we have a new word for that yet?
Is there a new word for that?
I mean,
I don't know. Maybe it's just I'm a mom, because being a mom is no different whether you're single or you're not.
Yeah,
and the ones that are not single are doing the same amount of work.
Just the cringe of, I feel cringy when I think or say single. Like, I don't know why it bothers me, and I'm like, solo mom, or like, because you don't need to, even though you're single, you might choose to be single. You know what I mean? But we don't say like single person. You just say
I
that
haven't
person.
really thought about it, to be honest.
Okay.
It doesn't bother me. I think, you know what? Actually, for me, I think it's the opposite.
Good.
I think I've come to a place where I take pride in that.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Like when you talk about our single moms, I feel like I'm giving her credit for having done all of that without a partner. So I feel like it's a pot, like, I don't know.
It's like a strength.
Yes.
Yeah, totally.
Okay, good. I was just making sure. I just wasn't sure. Sometimes I feel like, but I'm glad that we're there.
Dating. But girls, it's a pandemic. It's like, right. I mean, the idea, how does it even happen? I posted a video on TikTok and Instagram of me running away.
Died. Love it. Died,
right? But that's exactly how I feel. It makes me want to vom. I can't, like, this, like the social platforms for dating, I just don't think I can do that. It would have to be me meeting somebody through somebody else. Like, I need a referral. I need like that cosign.
Okay.
So I haven't dated, like, if I don't think you have many male followers, but I'm single and ready.
I feel like it would be a very good summer for you. Let's just put it that way.
A hot girl summer, because last year was silent.
Yes, I feel like it's going to be I feel this.
Is it, two questions. How long were you with your ex for?
4.5 years.
Is it exciting to think about the possibility of like going out with Austin? No.
Could you imagine? You guys have been with your men for so long. Like, so many things have changed.
I know.
So many things have changed. And because of all these dating platforms, people have become so lazy. Everyone's about a swipe. So even if I was to go on there, like, you know, and it's all really surface too. Like, people are swiping and choosing based on what they're seeing. And
I see you dating someone and I see you meet them on a patio. Like, they're unexpected. And
but then when you fact check them, they know somebody knows them.
They know them. And it's
this
like,
is the dream scenario. This is
I think it's coming, because you broke up at a time that didn't give you the opportunity to meet people or like have conversations because of COVID.
No, it was before. It was 2019.
I know, but we've been in for but you have to get over the hurt. And then, you know,
correct.
Though your window is just cracked. It's just you
there's time for me yet.
Oh my God, you are just beginning the journey of your life. Like, I'm thinking you're going to Niagara for like wine tours, and like just beginning. You are just
a friend.
I'm dying.
You tagged a fencer yesterday, the athlete.
Yes, Miles. Isn't he cute?
Is he available? Okay, I have one last question because I know you have to go.
I want to go for you. Do you drink?
girl, I just put on my stories. I wish this interview was in the evening and I wasn't on antibiotics, because
I know it would be hours then if we did it.
Let's do a patio. Maybe the vision is actually we're all having cocktails, and that's when he comes. If he knows us,
You just,
and then you're like, and then he's
That's
like,
it.
you just,
That's
you
it.
can't take him from her.
I will
Right.
give you a
I know a lot of people get hammered when they get negative comments on their posts, or they have to, for their mental health, they have to step away from the social media world. And I'm talking not even people with platforms, people who have feelings of what someone leaves on their sister, whoever. How do you handle the hate, or do you get it? And how do you personally let it go?
Do I get it? Yeah. And here's the thing. I didn't get it until last summer. So I was living in this very lovely, sweet space in social media where it was my army. I could say anything and everyone was supportive, and it felt very comfortable, and I shared way more. And then during the BLM movement, I became more vocal on quite a few things, and then got entangled in something that got blown out in the media, and things for me on that platform changed, I guess, indefinitely. So I amassed a larger following, and it was the first time that I ever had to deal with hate in this way.
Do those people still follow you to hate you?
Yes. And this is a concept. Do you guys have that?
We,
small.
we have,
They love to message us and tell us all the things that are not so great about us, and that they're gonna unfollow us, but they're still there.
That announcement drives me nuts. I don't need to know that. I'm just reaching out to let you know that X, Y, and Z, and I'm gonna unfollow you. Great.
I know. Yeah,
The PSA is not necessary.
We get yes, we do get some of it, and it is, they do like to go to town on us. And then the other day I took my daughter to Yorkdale, and I put 2 masks on her because we didn't have a 3-ply or 4-ply mask, and the hate I got for doing that was
How
like,
dare she put a mask and double a mask on her own daughter.
I didn't even want to go into Yorkdale, to be honest with you, because it was so packed, but I had to get her something.
What?
Sasha, she lives in Toronto.
Yeah, and she was like, do your research, you idiots. You did, like, I thought you were different. I'm like, I don't know if you've been following us for how long, but we are very open and very vocal about
everything that we do
about
and believe
where we stand. And I was like, okay. I was like, thanks for your point of view. I'm doing what I'm, yes. So
how do you let it go?
Yeah.
In the beginning, it was very overwhelming for me. I was gutted. And I'm one of those people, I don't know if you guys as creators in the space, if you have notifications turned on for any of yours. I've had unfortunate circumstances that led me to having to put it on. So if I didn't have it on, I would miss certain things. That's why it's there. And that's a whole nother story. So it was a lot. I couldn't sleep because I'd feel like I'd have to keep checking to see what was being said. And somebody on my team, Deborah, was like, if this is how you're going to be every time somebody leaves a negative comment, fucking get out of this now, because it's only going to get worse. And she's like, look at anybody that's a public figure. They all get hate. And they probably don't even know about half of it because they're just not looking at it. So figure out a way to block it. And if this is not for you, that's your call, but just let us know. And this is done. So I was like, okay, girl. First of all, I feel like a lot of the trolls, they want you to engage with them. They need it. It's almost like yeast or bacteria. Like you have to eat it, right? So when you don't feed it, they can't argue with themselves. So they just go away.
Sure.
So for the most part, it's a lot of ignoring, but then there's some that I call them cries for help, that they're reflected projections of how they're feeling on the inside. And every now and then I'll see one and I'll write back. And I'm like, hey, this is an open community here. You're open, like I'm a public figure, my page is open. You can vent and say whatever. That was a bit offside, but maybe there's something else going on, and I'm sending you nothing but love and light. And I hope that this day or this week turns around for you. And it's crazy because I've actually developed relationships out of that.
Yeah.
And like faithful followers.
It's a lot of time, but often we give our followers who have very different views than us a space to explain their point of view, listen to their point of view, explain that we don't have the same point of view, but that's your point of view. And then what they do is end up being like, thank you for listening, although they started with, I hate you. You know what I mean? And so if we as a platform can make small seeds of changing or opening minds of how different social issues affect the humanity of people, I feel like if we can keep those people engaged, they'll read something like, I never thought of it that way. Because often we're
open-minded, right?
We're battling people who have grown up in things, who have different perspectives. And so, they get so angry because if we're right, they're wrong. And how dare they could ever be wrong, So it's like,
how could their parents, the ones who raised them, be so wrong?
And so it's like, it's this fine balance of, making sure that you're like, that's not okay. But this is what we could say, and trying to educate without infuriating them, so at least we can get a message across. This social media world is so insane. And I will tell you, one time in North Carolina, we were on tour and we did a live show, and there was such a troll that someone had sent these two girls in wigs to come to our show and go to the front of the stage. What?
Yes.
And heckle?
They booed us when we walked out.
You fucking stop. We hadn't even started yet.
You should have seen the mama bears in the audience.
You
get up, grab security.
Who paid for this? Throwing popcorn at us. You fucking suck. Like screaming. It's like, and you're live. Like there's 1,000+ people in the audience.
What did you guys do?
We were just kind of looking at each other, and we kind of carried on because it was the intro, and there was like, we were doing
people
our
are
thing.
There to see your and to bring hate. So we just kind of said, thank you to everyone who was here for the support of amazing community. This is your one night out. A mom went up, got security came in, grabbed them, and they were out.
We were talking, I was watching this woman who was like, I will not stand for these two. I will have them kicked out immediately.
She was like, excuse, because it's like dark. It's quite, you're just like, you don't know what to do.
That is wild.
I know, it was great.
We hadn't even opened our mouths. I'm like, maybe if they were halfway through the show, maybe if we had just walked out. It was.
You guys are strong, because I think that would have taken me out of my gate,
Remember, there's two of us.
Yeah, there's two of us, and it wasn't our first show, thank God. But yes, if I was alone, I think I would have been
having a partner.
That's puke worthy.
Yeah. But we appreciate everything you do, and
I feel such a good energy through this phone. Like I feel like giddy talking to you.
Yeah, not everyone's easy to talk to, and you're very easy to talk to.
It feels like such a good positive energy, and I feel like you have so many exciting things happening in your life, and I can't wait to watch. But also,
where can everyone find you?
Everyone can find me on my brand new website at sashaexeter.com. Yes, it's a nice little refresh. So everything new, all our new news will be popping up on there. And I keep things very simple. So my social media handles are the same, Sasha Exeter.
Yes.
Is Maxwell going to get her own Instagram, or hell no?
No.
Okay.
No. Yeah, I've thought about it, but no, I can barely keep up with my own.
That's
I'll also love your content on TikTok too. That's really fun to watch. You kind of mastered that quickly.
Your TikTok. Sorry, I know we're supposed to be going, but the tips, life hacks, the hacks. Literally, I'm just like, what? The apple one, the apple snack, the slicing. I was like, wow, I'm done.
Okay, I gotta go do some more. You inspired me.
Thank you so much. Good luck with your surgery.
Yeah, we'll be thinking of you.
And we'll be following every single day, all the time.
All the time.
Love chatting with you guys.